Okay, now I'm going to start off this with talking about when some people online on Virtual County and Outcast Online, these are the two social media platforms for the county of Victorson County, and the only two in this, only for the county. When some people started to somehow, eventually some word got out, somehow leaked out, is what it did, in the true crime. Well, they developed a true crime. It developed more, I would say, true crime community online. And it became a little worrisome because Captain Ross and Sheriff Mitch, they saw that these people were getting too close, and somehow it had leaked out the information on what Ross had been learning, and telling the sheriff. And also Jim, he runs a place that they basically train people for all levels of enforcement, or send them to university, whatever it takes, of law enforcement. And he runs it, and he has his own. They have that, and they also train. He does deputies. He trains everybody that wants to, needs to, whatever. His academy was more than one thing, because they train so many different levels, including police officers. So it's huge. It's not just in Victorson County, but they have it there. Anyway, these three main men, they were informed. Hope this isn't jumping around too much. It probably is. The stabilizer makes it too closed in. Okay, the stabilizer makes it too close. Yeah. Won't let me zoom out. The in or out, you can't zoom. Anyway, and it wasn't like that before. I did seems like an upgrade. Anyway, real life happens in the middle of video. But anyway, so basically Ross had, he had been a deputy, and all this, and he made a captain of investigations. I'm not a true crime person, so I could probably get titles and such wrong. But anyway, there had been something going on in the county. All of a sudden, many of the people, like say 50% or so of the people in the county, were getting, and either they were getting them, or there were some indirect threats to them. I need to be in this lane. But like they weren't all receiving it, but the law enforcement, the different ones, they knew, they had a clue. And like I say, like an individual wasn't getting a report, wasn't getting a threat, but when the threats came in, they were like for anybody who was a member of this, or anybody who was an elder of the and the elders. Now could be elders, and not with the group called the elders. It's a huge one. But anyway, so they couldn't find out who was doing it, what group, or how many people, any of that. But Ross, then some strange things started happening, like with two women, Connie and Ruth. Basically, Connie, okay, let's see, let's see if that was in this lane. But Connie was traveling home from, she's like 69, 70 years old when this happened, and she was traveling back by herself on basically an old highway. Have you ever heard of some highways were called the old highway? And that's what she was on, that highway, and starting to turn dark. And she saw a woman, Ruth. She didn't know her name. Ruth was just walking down the highway, and she stopped to ask her if she needed help. And Ruth really wasn't saying much, but Connie, assumed that maybe Ruth was running away from her husband. They had a domestic kind of situation. But it turns out that wasn't the case. But Ruth's still not talking. But anyways, people like her, and then some other mysteries that happened with Connor. He found out so many different, Captain Ross found out so many different things. But my car's driving for me, and that's always scares me. My SUV, it does it on that curve because the lines and all. anyway, he found out more and more investigation. Of course, he had so much, red tape he had to go through and all. But the more and more he found out, well, at some point he was moved to basically go in hiding with people like Ruth and Connie and that whole, okay, who's supposed to be going here? I guess nobody. Yeah. But Ruth, Connie, and all them, and a whole bunch of other people, included people who saw something that they didn't know, like Monica. She didn't know that what she saw was a crime as it was happening. It was online, live stream she saw. A whole lot of stories behind all this, but he started to put things together, including talking to Dr. Pam, Doc Rick's sister, and they were the ones helping Ruth, and basically finding out that there were people who were basically disappeared over many years, and it wasn't, some of them, not all, but some of them were never reported because it was like divorce, that they came home and there were some divorce papers or they were served, and there was nothing wrong with their marriage. They were just surprised, but they didn't report it as the person missing, but the person was never seen again, whomever they were married to, male or female. And he found out, Sheriff Mitch, he found out that it was never reported either, but two, a family, Zoe, Chloe, and that family, they found their parents had just left a note saying they're tired of it and they've had enough. Okay, one blinker. But the eldest sister, she was old enough to take care of her younger ones, and they just didn't want to report it. She was afraid they would be taken away from her and put in foster care. Zoe and Chloe were twins, and anyway, I think there were 5 altogether. And so they never reported it until some things happened, and they got put in hiding also. And then so these things started coming out more and more, and Captain of Investigations Ross, he started to put them all together, and he dig it even deeper. Like I said, he had to go through all this red tape. He had to do everything by the law, and it took a while, but they started to see a picture. He started telling more than Mitch. They got Jim, and then it just went on and on. But like I said, it leaked to true crime somehow. Nobody knew how, and then it became an issue because they were digging into stuff that they didn't want them digging into because of the threats, and they didn't know about these threats that were sent out to most of the people in the population of the county. And like I said, they didn't necessarily get it, notice, but there were threats out there to pretty much everybody, 50% or so of the county. Whew. I'm driving, didn't have my notes with me anyway, but so these are rough drives, huh? But anyway, I wanted to put some of this out there. Okay, now I'm going to have to turn. And I remember one time I thought that lane over there turned too, and it doesn't. So anyway, okay, where is this place? I haven't been out to some of these places in so long, forget where they're located. So I guess it's on the next one. Anyway, so this is an example of when people who find information, somehow, some way, something is leaked. That's has to do with law enforcement, and the general public shouldn't know because they can't investigate something they don't even know yet. But then these, people start talking online and talking about them, and one person can make one video or write one post. The next thing you know, it spreads like wildfire. Well, that could put people's lives in danger, especially in this situation. And they why would they release all the information they have to the public? Really, seriously. You know, why would law enforcement do such a thing like that? Okay, I'm waiting in the drive-through line. I don't know what it is, but when I wear my mask, tell me if you cannot understand me. Here it goes. Can you understand what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, I took it back off. But I'm telling you, every time I go through a drive-through, they're going to mess up, not just this place, but any of them. They're either not going to be able to understand me, or they mess something up. I say one thing, they repeat it as another. Or like this one, added an extra thing. I said, that's okay, that's all. And they thought, apparently she thought I said, and a Diet Coke. I don't know how you can get those two mixed up, but anyway. I don't know. Maybe they're off, you know, all these places, like I say, they're off texting somebody in their mind. They're not paying attention. But it happens pretty much every time. Not every time. I'm not one of those that think in terms of every or all or nothing. No. Okay. I got my little buddy. That's what I call him, my little buddy. Got to sit a certain way, too. He's an American Pit Bull Terrier. Got him a pup cup. Pup cup of ice cream. And he won't eat it because his brother is not here. Apparently, that's his reason. Because if his brother were here, he would be. Oh, yeah, I have to have mine, too. For some reason, he seems more interested in everything else. Okay. There's a train a-coming. Like, what was that show? Golden Girls, when it says, a hurricane a-coming. This was a train a-coming. Anyway, so where was I after all that? It smells good, this food. But, so anyway, there's all this stuff going on. Okay, all these, you know, they're having to hire new people, new deputies, because this is a whole county. It's mainly towns, lots and lots of property. It's huge, and it goes back generations, many generations. And it's very wealthy and very secluded from other places. Like the nearest big city is two-hour drive away from the northernmost part, which is where it's closest to, like I said. And they only have one small, very small county that's south of it, and they're helping them out. So they're needing to hire more people for this law enforcement. Wherever the people want to be in, whichever, you know, the ones they call the enforcement, or the sheriff's, or for the sheriff's department, or for the police department, you know. And anyway, they're needing to hire people but they have a clue that they have not released to anybody of what's, you know, what could possibly, well, a link between many of the people who had this happen to them. They did not release this kind of information to anybody but those three men, the ones that are at the top, okay, of each one. And there's one more, you know, with the police department. But anyway, they only released it to the top, and they know not to say anything, and they don't. So that does not get out. And but they have to keep this close to their, you know, close to them, because yeah, these are people's lives that could be endangered by, you know, people just snooping. And then because the more recent ones are too, like with Connor, they were pretty sloppy. The people, whatever people did it, they were pretty sloppy with it. And so they're learning more, and they're learning that one big connection is that many of these people, at least one person, you know, per each, like it's like the married couple, the parents, at least one of them was in construction, or many of the others, but not all. The single ones, the ones that were just that one person, they were either in construction or some other. They weren't all in construction, but some of them were in things that, you know, really had them curious. And you'll have to stay tuned to find out all that. It's too much to say in one video, especially when I'm driving. But anyway, so they had to hire new people. Well, they were also at the time, the county, the elders, they started secluding all of the elders, And the elders had decided that they wanted to really work more. You know, in early 2020, they decided this. They wanted to work more on building up the county, but they were basically going to build on the extreme edges of the county inside, but build townhomes, condos, and such all the way around, like a perimeter. And they would have it gated, you know, where they didn't have the house or the condo or the whatever apartments. And so really, if anything, like early 2020, you know, and with all this, with the you know, people making threats and everything, so many of them, there's not just those two, but then they would have a way to have it block off the county, and they would do everything legally, but still they would do it. Now, if you would have turned faster, I could have gone. You know? But this one's going to take their time too, and now I'm not going to be able to go again. Yeah, real life happens. So okay, maybe that one I can't really see around too much. This, yeah, there we go. Anyway, so what they did was, you know, they're going to have all these construction building this. You're building all these houses and condos and all this, and plus extra little parts to the town, you know, that just doesn't come with homes. You know, it just doesn't come with homes. They have to have all these other things out there too. Like I said, very, very wealthy county. And this construction, they've called people in from other places and all this, so they need places for them to stay, plus, and so many things. But one of the things they wanted to do was to get, there's a town in the county that is actually called the Outlaws. It's got a long history. And basically families that got kicked out, like going way back to the early settlers of it, they got kicked out for being bad people, basically. They were moved there, and people that were moved there, they could leave, you know, the whole county, or they stay there, but they could not move into the rest of the county. And the property was all set for only descendants of the original settlers. And it goes back, it's part of their culture. It goes back all the way to the original settlers. And yeah, they're not controlling it all, huh? But that's basically how it is. And when you know, somebody passes away, then the people inherit it. You know, the people who inherit it, or, you know, descendants. And whenever they get married, they have to sign prenups if the person isn't a descendant. But they're also now people called original group members of geeks, and they go back 40 years or so. And they were very wealthy. All these were very wealthy investors. And anyway, but the people that lived in the Outlaws, at some point, somebody in their family got kicked out of, you know, the rest of the county, or moved there, or whatever. And they basically, you know, they there's a whole bunch more to that being kicked out kind of thing. But anyway, they need to hire people. And they're looking for people in construction to see what they can find. What would it be? What's going on? You know, and but they don't want to disclose too much, like I said, of what it could be and all that. So they vet them and find out that many, you know, pretty much all of them, it goes back many generations of why they're kicked out, and they're from good, decent families. You know, more current, they're all good, decent people. So they vet them, and then they offer them contracts that they basically can't refuse. It's so much money, but 2 days out of the week, they would be not doing construction, and they're not to tell anybody, but they're going through training with the enforcement, GM's enforcement, and they're going through training. I don't know how fast you want to drive, but you're causing all kinds of problems. Yeah, of course, there was one person that wanted to get around everybody. One person wanted to get around everybody. That wasn't going to happen. So we're driving back there, you know, like I said, I don't know how fast you think you're going to go, but with every lane taken up and people aren't going to go your speed, nope, not happening. We're not moving out of your way. There's no little flashing lights on your SUV. Anyway, they vet these people, they bring them in, they offer them a contract, they don't give them all of the information, they don't tell them everything, in other words. they don't tell them what the original goal is to, they're going to make a lot of money, okay, and that's what they agree to, and they bid them and all this, like I said, and but as time goes by, they will learn more as they learn more about them. Okay, usually the people that grow up in the Outlaws, they don't have any rules in anything. They're just not involved. But now the county said, this is old-fashioned rules. We're not going to go by that. It's illegal. And they're trying to, slowly work it with the people from the Outlaws, the town, and start opening it up to them. But they're kind of testing the waters, okay, so to speak. And I got another person behind me that thinks that they need to go really fast. This road is 35 miles per hour, and it's not going that fast. Usually a cop right around here, and yeah, when you live in a neighborhood long enough, well, sometimes right around here, I should say that, sometimes, but well, not right here, back there. Anyway, boy, I'm rambling, but I'm hungry. It's 12. It's actually my clock. I still haven't fixed it. It's 1:16 p.m. So anyway, they hire these people, and they move them around because it's going to be on the whole perimeter. But they're going to be working in the area to do these houses in an area that will be opening up, basically a new town. It's going to be starting. It's in the far northeast side, and I had to actually do my hand to figure it out. But in the far northeast side of the county, and it's not very developed out there, pretty much at all. There's only a farm, and so they're going to go kind of beyond that too, that farm. So they hire all these, and they're the ones that are going to work. Now that's enough for this one for now. That's just too much information. So I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.